This is Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, and today I'll be visiting the most popular things to do here and showing you what they're like. So stay tuned to the end of the video, let's go.
Good morning and welcome to Washington, D.C. It is a sunny day here in the United States Capitol. Today I'm going to be exploring, starting off with the U.S. Capitol. So let's head out there, and throughout this video I'll share with you useful information to know when you're coming to Washington, D.C. Let's head to the Capitol and get this day started. Alright, I just made it to the Capitol building. You can see it behind me there. But I'm about to head for my tour at 11:40. And in order to get a tour of the Capitol, you have to request it from your local representative. And try to do it in advance because that will guarantee you of getting a tour. I was lucky enough to get one. So we're about to head down to the Visitor Center and get started on the tour. Also, check out the prohibited items of the Capitol so that way you know what you can't and can bring on your tour. I'll leave that link in the description below. Let's head inside. And I just made it inside the Capitol. I am waiting here down in the Visitor Center, but there's a quick security check, and then once you're through that, you can come in. But it's at the back of the building on the lower floor, and my timed entry is about to begin, but I'm really excited to stand under the dome and tour the Capitol building. Once your tour begins, you'll first be shown a short 13-minute film, and after that, you'll head up to the crypt. The crypt was the place where George Washington was supposed to be buried, but he requested to be buried at his home in Mount Vernon, leaving the tomb here empty. There's also a compass showing the accurate direction of north, south, east, and west. After the crypt, you'll then head upstairs into the rotunda. The rotunda is the most famous part of the Capitol. It's 287 feet tall. Standing under the dome and looking up is such an iconic experience in Washington, D.C., and something that everybody needs to do. The rotunda also contains the frieze in American history. The frieze in American history is a 19-scene painting going all the way around the rotunda. It shows important scenes in American history. It starts off with the landing of Christopher Columbus and ends with the Wright brothers. After the rotunda, you'll head into the National Statuary Hall. The National Statuary Hall actually used to be the House of Representatives Hall from 1819 until 1857. But because it's really echoey in the room and it's small, the new and current Hall of the House of Representatives was moved over in 1857, leaving this room to serve as the National Statuary Hall. This tour was really cool. Now we're gonna head into the Capitol Exhibition. Outside of it, there's the Statue of Freedom. The Capitol Exhibition is a small museum containing really cool information about the Capitol, such as this model of the dome. Did you know the Capitol dome weighs almost 9 million pounds? It also contains really cool information, such as the different branches of government. So here is information about the House of Representatives, and you can see that the 50 states are divided into 435 districts. So some states like New York have 26 districts, while some states like Idaho only have 2 districts, and each district has 1 representative who serves in the House chamber, and there are 435 representatives plus 6 non-voting members in the House of Representatives. Here's the information about the Senate. So each state elects 2 senators to serve, and there are 100 senators because there are 50 states. And it doesn't matter how big the population is, each state automatically has 2 senators, and no state has more than 2. So let's say Rhode Island has 2 and California has 2, even though of course Rhode Island is tiny and California is massive. They both have 2, and they serve in the Senate chamber.
Now that we just visited the Capitol, we're going to our next attraction, the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress is accessible to the Capitol building via an underground tunnel. This tunnel takes about 3 minutes to walk, and the nice thing about it is it's in the secure area, meaning you only have to clear security in one of the buildings and you can use the tunnel to go between the two. So it's a much better way than going up and walking outside, but the walk through the tunnel takes around 3 minutes, and then you end up at the Library of Congress. Welcome to the Library of Congress, the largest in the world. The library has over 160 million different items, including books, manuscripts, and more. The main attraction here is the main reading room. This is where you see a lot of the photos taken here, and it's the most famous part, located in the Thomas Jefferson building. It's a really beautiful room, and it also has a mini rotunda. Fun fact, you can also come and work in here. You have to apply for a library card, and anyone 16 or older can apply. So if you'd like to come work in here, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Also, the tickets to access the library are free. You just have to get a timed entry pass online, and the main reading room is open from 2 to 4 every day, so tourists can come and walk through it.
So I'm actually up here all the way at the top of the library in the main reading room overlook. And as you can see right down in there to where the researchers are doing their work. but this is really cool to be up here and see it from the top. And this little box is also soundproof, so that way people up here don't disturb the researchers as they're working. But this is a really cool view, and it's also really cool to see it from a different perspective all the way up here.
Now we're gonna visit our first exhibit, the Treasures from the Library of Congress.
Here is a really cool exhibit too, and it's about the oldest ancient writing system in the world, which was invented by the Sumerians in Mesopotamia, which is modern-day Iraq, around 3200 BCE. And as you can see, that is the writing system, and that is what they used way back then. Here is a really cool exhibit here, and this is a replica of the Golden Record, and the Golden Records are records on board the Voyager spacecrafts, and they show what life is like on Earth. They have images and all sorts of things on them, and these are for in case aliens were to find the Voyager spacecraft sometime in the future, they would know about our existence. Of course, this is not the real one, because the two real ones are of course on board the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecrafts out in interstellar space, but it's still really cool to see a replica. So right here we have the musical hand, and for thousands of years the human hand has allowed humans to develop as a society, to build new things. So this exhibit commemorates what it's done for us throughout our entire history of existence.
The Library of Congress is a must-do in DC. If you're somebody especially into literature, then this is a great place for you to visit, but anyone visiting DC should make a stop at the Library of Congress and check this awesome place out.
There you can see the Supreme Court of the United States. It is part of the judicial branch of the government.
I've just made it to the Supreme Court of the United States, and this is the highest court in all of the country. But this is really cool to be here at the Supreme Court. So as you know, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the entire country. There's ultimate jurisdiction of all other courts here, but you can see the steps to the Supreme Court, and it has two fountains on both sides. Really insane to be here. So this is the view from the main plaza area, but you can see it all the way up, and at the top it says equal justice under law.
So a really cool thing about the Supreme Court too is you can actually come out here on argument days and you can listen into the argument. So if you're somebody studying law, or you're a lawyer, or you're just really interested into that stuff, I would recommend you come here on argument days, and they're on specified Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and they also have a schedule of when argument days will be going on, so I'll link that in the description below for anyone who's interested. There's the Supreme Court.
Now that we have visited the second branch of the US government, now it's time for the third branch, which is the executive branch, aka the one with the president. So we're gonna head towards the White House now. Welcome to the last branch of the US government, the executive branch. The executive branch consists of the president, vice president, and around 5 million other workers. The White House is the residence and office of the president of the US. Getting a White House tour is extremely difficult and one of the hardest things to do in DC because it's so popular. Also, the North View wasn't open today, so I had to stand a little farther away because there was a presidential motorcade arriving at the White House. This was something extremely cool to see, and it was so cool to see them driving right up to the White House. And the White House has a schedule of when the president is gonna come and go from the White House, so you can check that out. I'll leave that linked in the description too, but seeing a motorcade is another thing you should definitely do when you're in DC.
And that's it for today's video. I had a great time here in DC today. Really cool going to the US Capitol, doing that tour, and going to the Library of Congress, the Supreme Court, and standing near the White House and getting to see the presidential motorcade arrive. And if you're wondering how I got here to DC, check out this video on the left of the screen, which shows you how I arrived here.